If since our donation of a calculator, of a brand new calculator, was denied, it could only mean one thing. It means that the calculator which the president is using to calculate fuel prices is working properly. Because if the calculator which the president is using to calculate fuel prices was malfunctioning, then surely he would have accepted a donation of a new calculator. You understand? So the fact that he declined our calculator donation can only mean that his calculator is working perfect. You understand? So then the next question is, if the president's calculator is working properly, then why is he not reducing the fuel prices to the 12 kwacha which he promised the Zambian people? Now again, it can only mean one thing. It means that the president's formula, since his calculator is working properly, so it can only mean that the president's formula is not a legitimate formula for reducing fuel prices to 12 kwacha. Now, if the president's formula for reducing fuel prices to 12 kwacha, which he presented to the Zambian people before elections, and on the basis of which the Zambian people proceeded to elect him into office, if that formula, he later on discovered that it is a fake formula, it doesn't work, the reasonable thing to do by the president is to come back to the people. Come back to the people and apologize. And apologize. So our expectation is that in the days ahead, Innocent, in the days ahead, the president will address the nation and admit to the Zambian people to say, people, the formula I presented to you for reducing fuel prices from the 16 kwacha, which was there, to 12 kwacha, does not work. I apologize. It does not work. Now, the president has to go further to explain to the Zambian people, in the interest of transparency and accountability, whether he discovered that his formula for reducing fuel doesn't work after elections, or he knew before elections that his formula doesn't work, it is a fake formula, but he just used it to hoodwink the Zambian people into voting for him. He needs to tell us, at what point did President Hakainde Hichilema realize that his formula for reducing fuel prices to 12 kwacha does not work? We need to be taught in the interest of honesty, transparency, and accountability. Because, that point is very important, because if President Hakainde Hichilema knew before elections, if he knew that he was presenting a fake formula to the electorate for reducing fuel prices, and he did that deliberately in order to win votes which he did not deserve, then it means that he was fraudulently elected into office. It means that he has no legitimacy to be president of the Republic of Zambia. It means that the president needs to be impeached by parliament so that we can go to a fresh election. Because, Innocent, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you what happens at elections. At elections, each candidate will tell the Zambian people what you do for the people, isn't it, as president?
Sure.
And some of us were honest to the people. We could have lied to the people. We could have come up with a fake formula and presented to the people, showing the people that we can reduce fuel prices even to 10 kwacha, more than the 12 kwacha that Hakainde Hichilema is talking about. We would have done that. But we did not do that. We wanted to be honest to the people. And what did we end up with? We ended up with some zeros. We ended up with some zeros. Why? Because we were honest to the electorate. We were honest to the Zambian people. So why should someone unduly benefit? Someone who deliberately lied to the people, someone who came up with a fake formula with the intent of fraudulently soliciting for votes from the electorate so that he can win an election. What would have happened if Tembo had also come up with a fake formula of reducing fuel prices and presented it to the people? The question is, would Tembo have still gotten the votes he got? Or would Tembo have won the election? So, in other words, Mr. Pin, the realization, the discovery that President Hakainde Hichilema's formula for reducing fuel prices to 12 kwacha is a fake formula. It casts aspersions on the legitimacy of his presidency, because he ascended to the presidency by false pretenses, by false and fake formulas of reducing fuel, and there is no, there is no legitimacy there. There is no legitimacy. So that is our challenge to the president. Number one, he needs to tell us at what point he realized that this formula doesn't work. If he realized after being elected, again, it casts aspersions on the competence of the president. What information did the president have about his formula, which he didn't after the elections, which he didn't have before the elections, which made him discover that his formula doesn't work? We need to know that. So in other words, this matter needs to be dealt with. A lot of transparency, a lot of accountability, and people, we should not be in a habit of having readers lying their way to State House. And we clap for that and say, we shall not change it, as you have always my voters, as you have more anamira boza my voters. It shouldn't be like that, because it undermines the credibility of our entire electoral system. So that is our submission.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tembo. Now, I want to take you through